I see the little red
All right.
button.
Good. So we are recording. All right. Anybody that's watching this in replay, you're going to learn a little bit about Google Sheets. We're going to go over everything we can, or just a bunch of, I think, basic stuff. To me, it's basic because I know spreadsheets. To some of you, it may not. So hopefully we're going to learn a lot of stuff. Bill and Andrew, please ask a lot of questions and make sure my headset doesn't go wonky. So you can interject anytime. So.
Oh, you're wearing the blah, blah, blah shit.
That's right.
I see.
That
Okay.
is exactly right. Yes. Well, I'm going to screen share. Let me get to that. This is a spreadsheet I created this morning. This is basically what we're looking at on the left-hand side. If you notice, this is just a list of names like Bob Davis, and then we have Harold Williams with a comma. And then we have like Mike Costas right here. He has all caps. So what's interesting and cool about this, we're going to try and get this. These are the results we're looking for over here. We want that list that we got from someone that doesn't have, we want to take out the commas, and we want to make that list so it looks and feels a lot more pleasant. And you can see how everything's proper. There's no caps and all this kind of stuff. And we can do all this with formulas. And that's what we're going to work on today. These are our final results that we want to achieve, and these are the ways that we're going to do that by adding formulas to make this happen. And if you notice, the ones that are correct, like Bob Davis right there is correct already. That's no problem. It just stays the same. So we also, when we're doing these formulas, we have to make sure that when we're thinking of the results, we have to think it all the way through. So we have to think, okay, the ones that are correct, I want them to stay the same. But the ones where they're different, like the all caps one, if I want the all caps one to be, like the other one that is correct, like I said, the Bob Davis one is correct. And then I want to change all these where the last name and the first name are on the opposite sides. I need to switch those around. So that's what we're doing. We're getting all this data and putting it in the proper order, because this looks a lot more presentable and proper, et cetera. And that's our end result. So the end result is here, and this is what we're starting with based on somebody just copied and pasted and gave you this information on the left-hand side, and you have it, in the wrong order and that kind of thing. So I've got tabs down here to show you how we're going to go through each step. And like I said, ask as many questions as you want, because I know spreadsheets. You guys don't know spreadsheets. So you're trying to learn what these formulas can do to help you. So at any time, ask all the questions you want. Welcome, everybody, too, by the way.
Okay, I've got one off the bat.
Sure.
If somebody gives me that first list under the salesman,
right.
You've got first name, last name in column D. Suppose in column E, I want to reverse that so I can choose which ones, like for salutations and stuff. The first one, in the second column, I want last name, comma, first name.
Okay,
can you do both at the same time, or would you have to do two separate formulas to do that?
No. That's a great question. Yeah, we could actually make all these results turn out like the Harold Williams, like what you're talking about, right?
Yeah, but I want both of them in two different columns.
Oh, yeah. We could do that. We could actually take this data that's already done and do exactly what you're saying.
Okay.
So, yeah, and what we'll do, that'll be extra credit at the end. What I'll do is I'll show you how to do that at the end, how we're going to go. Because with what you're going to learn, maybe you can walk me through how we want to do that.
Okay.
Does that sound fair?
Yeah.
That way, if you do it, it helps you remember. If you're like, I know I did this because, Michael said he made me think of the formula. That's really what I want you to learn. Try and use logic, but I want to preface this. It's a brainiac logic. It's guys that are coders. It's guys that are, that kind of. So sometimes you just try and make it make sense. We're going to be using words like proper and upper and find and substitute. And all of those different words, those all mean something to you. And I'm going to try and make it make sense when it comes to a formula. So let's go right to the first one. Let's get right into it. This is we're going to use find. So what I have to do is I have to I'm trying to find the spot where the comma is. So if you look up here in the formula, it says find, and anytime you use text, okay, let me make you understand this too. When there's a value, when there's not a value, excuse me, when there's a value or there's a reference to a cell, like this is referring to A4. We're going to look in A4 right here where Williams, comma, Harold is. So that's what it's doing there, okay? And what's kind of cool, and what do I want to search for? I want to search for a comma. And you have to make sure and put it in quotes. It's very important when you use text or exclamation points or anything like that that's data that you're looking for. Like we're looking for the comma in this, okay, and that William Harold. So what we need to do is, if this were, let's say I wanted to find the space. You see where there's Williams, comma, and then the space Harold? Okay, so if I wanted to do the space, I would just do this. I would leave a space in between those quotation marks. So now I'm looking for the space, okay? Just so you understand that, okay? And I'll show you a couple other cool things that you'll find as well. So, and on the sheet I have this, and I'll be glad to share this with the whole community. This is a sheet that I made up today. I'll be glad to share this so you can always come back and reference it too. I try to keep what the formula is in the cell there so you can kind of see that. Notice for the one that's correct, look up there at Bob Davis, it's giving me an error, okay? You know why? Because there's no comma in there. So I'm going to teach you how and why we're going to fix that so we don't get that word value to show up. Because remember, some are correct and some are wrong. And right now, I'm just showing you the part of where to find that comma. So I'm just searching for the find part of it. Now, one thing I'm going to show you tricks along the way. All of these are, they're bold. Why did this one not get bold? To make that one bold just like that one, I could go up here and hit B for bold, but I'm just going to show you another trick what you can do. This is a kind of cool thing. If you want the format the same, this just copies the formats. It doesn't change. It doesn't copy the formulas or anything else. It's just the format. So what I can do is I can click that when I'm in this cell. So I'm in cell C1. When I click that, see, it kind of puts like, I don't know if you can see the dotted lines, but there's little dotted lines around it. So the next thing I touch is going to make it exactly blue background, bold text. And so when I go like this, boom, it automatically does. It's a quick, easy way. Format Painter can be a huge friend of yours. Now, one thing that you can do too, let's say I was doing that. I'm going to undo. Undo and redo are really cool tools right here I use all the time if I do something by mistake. So for example, I'm going to undo. Let's say I do that. Let's say I got C1 selected. I hit the Format Painter, and then I hit D2 by accident. I hit the wrong one. Oops. Not the one I wanted. I wanted to do this one, and I realized I did that. If I just undo, I'm good. Now I can go back to C1, click the Format Painter, and then hit that at the top, and boom, I'm done. Okay? The only thing is keep in mind it will only do one thing. So if I wanted all of this, I could do this and do Format Painter, and it'll make that whole row the same. And notice what it did. It changed these to green and these to dark gray because it's doing exactly the same of whatever I selected. What I can't do is select D and E to get the results using Format Painter. Hope that one makes sense, but it's really cool because when you're trying to find stuff and you're looking around at stuff and you want certain things highlighted, it's really a quick and easy way as long as you remember that little paint roller, paint format.
You can also do that just by clicking on the little blue square and dragging it right, can you not?
Yeah, but the problem is, Bill, if I have a formula in here,
yeah,
and I have a different formula in here, I don't want those formulas to go. See, if I do this, it brings the formulas as well.
Sure.
Okay. And it brings the word as well. See how it put right in there instead?
Understood. Yeah.
Yeah. So I don't want to do that. All I want to do is the format. I don't want the data. I don't want the formula. I don't want all that stuff. All I want is the format. Okay. That makes sense?
Yeah, absolutely.
And basically, it's a shortcut for doing this. So if I have C1 and I'm going to hit Edit, Copy, now you can see the little lines around it. And then I come over here and I can go Edit, Paste Special, Format Only. It's the same thing as doing Control-Alt-V. It's just a quick way to do it. And that's why I wanted to show you this trick. Sometimes we have all these cool things up here that we don't know about. We have all these cool tools that we could utilize and make things work. I mean, just like adding dollar signs, if I want to take it to 2 decimal points, I can increase it or decrease it. You know, you can change, you know, different formats. It has a bunch of common formats that you can pull up. You can add percentage, make something results in percentage or dollar sign. Some of these cool things, or, you know, stuff like that. So I like to try and, especially this one, because I use this one quite often. So I thought this would be a good, cool tip. Just want to throw that tip out there before I got going any further. All right. So now we know how to find. So what it does is it finds that comma in the 9th spot. So if you were to count over, this would be the 9th spot where the comma is. It's important, if I'm going to take out the right side of it or the left side of it, to get where that is. So that's my starting point on how to do that. So let's extract a name. Let's go right here. We're going to go into the first one. Okay, well, let's go into the second one because this one's correct before we get the value error, okay? So I need to get the right side, the left side, and then I need to trap the error. So why I'm getting the error. So we have to find out these things, why I'm getting the error, okay? So Harold on the right side, what I'm trying to do is get Harold out of here. So what I've done is I'm going to go right. Okay, if you look at the formula down below, so I'm going to write in A4, and what's cool about this, if you look, what string are you looking for? Well, A4 is the string I'm looking for, Williams, comma, Harold. So I'm always referring back to that because that's what I want to change, okay? So I have write A4, and it's really cool. It kind of gives me, okay, like it gives you an example, okay? You can even learn more about write. It'll actually tell you and give you some stuff, an example. But what it's trying to do is, in summary, returns a substring from the end of a specified string. That's a very, you know what I'm saying? That's like, okay, all right, that's great. I get it, sort of, whatever, okay. Whereas this up here, I think, gives you the best because what it does is, I want to try and find, okay, I get the string in A4, okay, and then comma. You have to put a comma, because it shows each section. So when I go to this section, so for example, I'm right here on A4 in this first one, right? I'm going to find the string, which is in A4. Then when I touch anything in this second one, it automatically takes me to text to search right here. Oops, okay, so now I have length. Okay, I'm sorry. Okay, number of characters. So now it needs to know, okay, here's your string. Here's the number of characters. I need to find that number of characters. Well, we got that. Remember, we got that from the find, okay? So we need the total length of A4. So what it does is LEN is length. That tells me total how many characters. So I'm going to come off to the side just so you can kind of see. I don't want to confuse you, but what I want to do is I want to break down this section of it. Okay. Oops, I didn't mean to do that. All right, let me just escape. Okay, so I'm going to get the length of A4. So equals length. See how I'm starting over here? Can you see that over there? I just want to make sure everybody can see it. I'm over to the right. Okay, so length, open parentheses. So now it knows the formula. Just tell me the length of what text. I want to do A4. Now, a cool thing with Google Sheets is I can just hit enter and it'll automatically put that in parentheses in. I don't have to put that in parentheses in, I think. Yep. So it tells me it's 16 characters long. Okay? So that whole thing is 16 characters long. So minus, if you look, it's 16 characters minus, remember, find the comma, which was on of A2, okay? But this is, I mean, this is A4, okay? I can change these. Sorry, I didn't mean to. I don't want to confuse you. Let me change it right now because I just copied the formula. I didn't actually make the change there. See, if you look at the other one, it's right. Okay, so there. Okay, so now I have right A4 right there, that, and the length is A4's length, which is 16, minus the where the comma is, which of A4, which is 9. So 16 minus 9 leaves me what's left, and that would be Harold. Okay. So I took A4, which was Williams, comma, Harold, the length, total length of it minus the other, and gives me to the right, starting at the right, minus that. So that's why it gave me Harold. So that's how I get the right side. If you notice in this one, it's doing the exact same thing, but why do you think we're getting a value there? Why do you think we're getting an error? Anybody can guess? Anybody want to just try and figure it out? Exactly. Cannot find this comma. It's looking for a comma and it can't find it. So what it does is it says, hey, part of your formula is messed up. And a lot of times it'll give you this little red triangle and it tells you Google is so smart versus Excel. Excel doesn't give you this error. It just says you have an error. Excel tells you, hey, there's an error in your formula. This tells you in find evaluation cannot find the comma within Bob Davis. That is freaking awesome. This is so awesome. And it helps you say, oh yeah, I don't have a comma in there. And it's looking for that. So this isn't going to work. So now I have to go figure out how I'm going to fix that. Really cool. And we're going to show you that on the error trap. You'll see at the end. Okay. So now I need to get Williams out of there. Okay. Now I need everything to the left of that comma. I got what's to the right. Now I need to get what's to the left of the comma. So to do that, I'm going to, my data is in cell A4. Nothing changes there. And if you notice, it's a number of characters again. So I got to go number of characters. So now I'm going to find that comma. Okay. So it finds the comma. Do you remember what how many characters over the comma was? Does anybody remember? 9, exactly. So it's 9. So what I need to do, I don't want the comma, right? So I have to put 9 minus 1 because I got to get rid of the comma. If I didn't put that, it would give me Williams and the comma. So that's why I put the minus 1 there, just so you understand why that minus 1 is there. If you want to include the comma, you can do that. I could do that right now. I could just go like this and there. Now it leaves the comma. So now I have Harold and then Williams, comma. But I want to minus that, okay? And notice when you're looking at a formula as well, notice the sections. It works in the middle and works its way out. So the first thing it's doing, you see these brackets? Anytime you have find, okay, I'm searching for, right here, the comma, the text to search, A4, and then here is starting at this point, okay? So it tells you in this formula, each section in highlights. If you notice, search for highlights, A4 highlights, and that last section. So it's telling me that this all right here is one formula. Now, if you notice the second set of brackets, this I'm trying to include to give me the minus 1 because I need to add that minus 1. So I put a bracket around it so it knows to do that section next. Then my left, if you look at left says give me a string, number of characters. So I have a string right here, it's A4, and then number of characters I got by my find. So boom. That's the 2 sections. Do you see how it highlights? Like here's the string. And if I highlight this section, that's my number of characters. So a formula always works like inside out. It's working from in. And a lot of times they'll color code, which is kind of cool. It'll give you like this is text. This green right here is text. This yellow is a cell. Okay, you can almost tell there that it's doing. So it tries to give you color code, tries to give you words, tries to give you define which section you're in. Like this is inside the find formula. I'm inside but this is inside the left formula. If I highlight all this, even though I'm highlighting find, it's still within the left formula because it's the back end of that number of characters. I hope that's not confusing, but I'm trying to help you understand formulas in the way you in the middle, like if you have an extra, let's say I have an extra parenthesis, end parenthesis, it's going to mess up the whole formula because what it's trying to do is trap in find. But if you look here, do you see that red one that it added at the end? It says something's wrong. You're making this last bracket right here or open parenthesis is going to mess it up. It's not going to give you the right answer. And it might be because something as simple as not having or having too many of the parentheses. So, okay, so now I have Harold and I have Williams, but I'm still getting this value. And why am I getting the value? It tells me right here, right? In find evaluation, cannot find the comma within Bob Davis. So here's how we're going to error trap that. What we're going to do, we're going to add is error, okay? So what's going to happen there is what we're doing, what we're telling this is, okay, let's just look at this formula for a second and break it down. Find comma, A4, 1. It's the same formula we've been using forever. Find comma, A1, A4, 1, right? That's how we find where that is, correct? Now, if you find a comma, then this is false. Oh, I'm sorry. If it is an error, hold on. If it is an error, what it's saying is, did you get an error when you were going to find that comma? No. So that's false. No is the word false. Okay. In this one, remember Bob Davis doesn't have one. So it's saying, did you get an error when you were trying to find the comma in A4? In this particular case, it's A2. I'm sorry. I will edit that. So I don't want to confuse you because I'm doing two different things, but just in A2. And you say, yes, we were trying to find that comma and A2 did not have one. So yes, I need to be true. This is true because yes, I found an error. Okay. So this one's false because no, it did find a comma. Yes, this is true because there was no comma. Okay. So that's how we're going to trap this. Okay. So that's how we get the trap and make it all work. So what we need to do is when we get to the final results, and you're going to see that where this is. So I'm going to go back to the finished results so you can kind of see what this is. I believe it's right here. Okay, so we're going to look. Now, you have to use an if statement. An if statement, because you want, if it's this, then this. If it's this, then that. Okay, so you have to have two choices. So this is a very lengthy right and left. Okay, we got the right and left together. We got a result of just A2. That's our, look, it even tells me Bob Davis. So what this is saying, what I need to do is I need to do an if, okay? So in an if statement, I need a logical expression. It's either going to evaluate to true or false. If the value is true, do this. If the value is false, do this, okay? So my logical expression before this first comma, and this is the key right here. This is my first comma right here. See where value is true? That's what this is. Basically what I'm saying, if there's an error and there is no comma, just put Bob Davis, just put the name properly. That's what I'm telling it to do. So this is the result, the value if true. See right here, value if true. So cool, really simple. So for me, I want to clarify that for me. Okay, so if this logical expression, if I find that there's an error finding a comma in A2 than A1, if I find that there's an error, then I want to put A2. I want to put Bob Davis there, okay? That's what I'm telling it. The logical expression is if I find that there is a no comma, because that's what I'm trying to find, then I want to just put Bob Davis. Otherwise, I want you to do all of this. Now, this is, if you notice, this is the right side, okay? And this is the left side. Okay, so I have right and left. And look in between right here. This is a little cool trick that I can do. Right here, I have put in an and sign, okay? Because formulas recognize the and sign, okay, in formulas as adding something, okay? And this little quotes with a space in between gives me a space in between it. Because if I didn't do that, let me just put it like this. I'm going to take this out. So it's just and. So now I got the right side and the left side. Watch what happens. Oh, did I do it? Oh, yeah, you can't see because I don't have it. Let me make the text black. Okay. Why did it work? Hold on. Interesting. Oh, I know why. Do you know why it worked? Because there's no comma, so it did A2. It just gave me the results A2. Let's do this one and try that same thing. All right, so now try it. Okay, I knew it. Okay, I need to make the text dark again. Okay, so see how Harold Williams is together? It's joined together because I don't have a space in between it. I have and, it did the right thing. Oops, I'm sorry, didn't mean to do that. Okay, so I have and up here, which give me Harold and the Williams, but there's no space in between. So I have to remember that I want to add, it's an a quote, space, quote, and another and sign. And what it does, that's what gives me the space. I could put in there, let's just say I wanted to put Harold, Mr. Boss, and a space afterward there, do Harold, Mr. Boss Williams. I can put whatever I want there. And I would do it, if I copied this formula down, it would do the same thing for anybody that has a comma. It's not going to do it. See how it did William, Mr. Boss DeVoe? Because in the formula, remember, it's just going to take A2. So I could tell, Mr. Boss are ones with commas. Hopefully some of this is starting to click for you and say, wow, okay, this is very powerful. This is some cool stuff that we can do. Now, I'm going to back off some of these, take some of these away, just so I can make sure that I don't mess up anything else. So when we extracted the name, we had the error trap start things off. We started off with the error trap, okay? That's what we did. Then we took the right side and the left side with a space in between, okay? Now, there are other ways to do similar things to what we're doing right here. For example, substitute reverse, okay? So what you can do is I can take substitute. So I can take substitute A10, okay? So let's look at substitute. Let's look at that formula. This is the text to search. We're in A10. Right over here is A10. It's highlighted. This is search for what? What are we searching for? The comma. And then we want to replace it with nothing. Just a double quote with no space in between. We just make it blank. We just don't want anything there. So now what that'll give you as a result is Ward Mike. It gives me that, but I got to reverse it out. I mean, it gives me the right answer. It's another way of doing the same thing. You think, hey, this is a lot easier than the other way. You know what I'm saying? Okay. But this doesn't have error trapping. So it's not going to get your error trapping because all it's going to do is take this and flip it over. So this one won't work for like somebody who David Ortiz or Mike Costas or Bob Davis. It won't work for that. You're going to have to do a lot more different stuff to say, okay, if there is a comma, then you do this. If there's not a comma, then you have to do this. So you're still adding more formula to get all those results. All I'm doing is showing that you can do this with all the ones that have a comma, and this is the way you would go about that. So to get the right side, now I'm going to substitute, okay? So I can substitute A to get rid of that comma. That's the first thing I did in my right, okay? Then I need to know the length of where it is. Of A10 gives me the total length minus the find. So I'm still finding that comma and that section to tell me how much, where I want to start on my right side. So it tells me the length, find A10, where the comma is over there on the left-hand side over here on this, Mike Ward, okay? And then once I'm in there, I want to see how long all of the characters are in A10. And then subtract those. So that way I know where to start my right side of the comma and go. Okay, so that's what gives me Mike. Okay, Ward, left, I want to substitute that comma with nothing. Okay, that's what this part is doing. All right, and then I want to find the comma in A10. Okay, there's one starting at the very first thing. Because it's at the beginning, hopefully, it was going to be right at the first thing, -1, to minus out the comma. So it's another way of doing the same thing. It just doesn't have the error trapping for ones that are correct. I didn't go into detail showing you that one, whereas checking to see if there's an error first. But you guys, now you've seen that first one, you can start to figure out and do on your own. One thing that's really cool And I won't be much longer. I know you guys are like, okay, this is driving me crazy, but no, I'm just kidding because it's formulas. But trim, this is a really cool thing. I love trim. Okay, this is one of my favorite things. If you notice, let's look at this, and I'm going to make this white background with black text. Okay, look on this side. If you notice, it looks like there's a space before Harold, a space before William and Carl. You might even have words with like double spaces in between and all kinds of stuff. The trim, this is so awesome. Trim B2, what this does, it takes out any extra characters before. It cleans it up and takes that extra character before anything. So you can see how they're all lined up. It's the exact same thing. I'm actually pulling B2. So I'm pulling all this data and just cleaning up that opening space beforehand. That's really cool to clean up if you have a database full of stuff. That's really cool thing. All right, proper and upper. What this does, proper, if I use the proper formula of C2, okay, so it takes C2, the ones that I just did where I cleaned them up, there's no space at the beginning, and makes it proper. It takes Bob, okay, and capitalizes Bob, and then it takes Davis and capitalizes Davis. The only problem is that if you have like A.J. Williams, A will be capitalized, J will not. It's the only thing with proper where it won't do that. But I'm sure you could do things like if the first name is just 2 letters, then you do this and, that kind of thing. You can add formulas to do that. But the problem is if you have a guy named Al, then he's going to have 2 capital letters because he's really important. No. So it'd have to be some tricky stuff to get that to be exactly right. So proper is great. It looks good. But if you have like, I don't know, David Ortiz Jr., like I said, it'll do the capital J and a small r, which is good. You can do that. But you can do all upper too. So I use the upper formula for C2. And it converts everything to upper. So if I want everything uppercase, just have it all the same and it's consistent, doesn't change, boom, it's done. So those are cool tricks too for the proper and upper to get those results that you're looking for. That's the last tab I have. Does anybody have? Okay, now Andrew, you wanted to take this data and make it, you want this to show up as Davis, Bob, right, as another choice.
Right.
Okay. So what I'm going to do, let's walk this. We're going to all walk through this and see if we can't figure this out together. Okay. And I'm going to probably make some mistakes. I'm just telling you, because I have to think through this process too. And a lot of times, if I don't remember, let me just tell you right now, I can go right now and I'm going to show you this because this is important. I had to do it today because I don't do this every day. Just go sheet formula. Let's see, data after comma, something like that. There you go. How to extract text before and after a space, comma only. It'll show you. It'll tell, like all these formulas that you're seeing, you'll see right here, like this one right here. Boom. Try it. Use it. Make sure that you're using A1 and make sure you're finding a blank or whatever you're doing. And that's kind of what we're going to do. So you can do that too. No secrets. I mean, everything's out there. So what I want to do is I want to take Andrew's, I'm going to take this proper one. So what I'm going to do is first of all, I'm going to make sure that I have, all of these are correct. So I don't need any error checking because all of these are correct now. So once I have the data, what I want to do is I want to get the last name first. So I want to do, which am I going to do, left or right? How am I going to start my formula?
Right.
You started on the right because you're dealing with the last name, right?
The last name, yeah. I want the last name. So I want Davis first. So I'm going to use equals right. Okay. Mm-hmm. So I'm going to do equals right of Bob Davis. So this is D2. Okay. So I got that right. I'm going to put my comma. So how many characters? Well, here's where I have to find out how many characters. Well, this is where I do the length minus, let's go back. Just so, I don't want anybody to get confused. I want to make sure that we do this so you don't get confused. So let's go back to extract name. Okay. So left A4, I'm sorry, right. We're doing right. We're getting the right name. Okay. No, we're getting the left name, right? because we're getting, hold on a second. No, we're getting right. We're getting right. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Yes. Okay. So we're getting the length minus find. Now we don't have a comma anymore. Remember, we don't have a comma. So what do we have to do? We have to do equals.
Times space, right?
Yes. Very good, Andrew. So we're going to write this data. So we need to length first, right?
Mm-hmm.
We need the length of the whole thing. Okay. Then we need to minus the number of characters. So what am I going to put here? Help me out. Find. I got to find the space, right?
Right.
There we go. So I got to find space, comma. Now what?
Then you would pick up the first name.
What's the text to search right here? Just try and look at the formulas right here. So what I'm finding and searching for, I know that I'm searching for a blank. Text to search would be D2, right?
Yeah.
And what's my starting point? Don't need one?
Space minus 1.
Okay, so space minus 1, but we don't need to minus, do we need to minus 1 on this one or no? You tell me, because there's no space afterward, right?
Mm-mm.
On the very end, because we already trimmed it.
Right.
So there's no space at the end. So we're done really. See, and notice the brackets here, starting at. See these brackets here? Around starting at. Do you see those little square brackets?
Mm-hmm.
That means it's an option. You don't have to put it. It's an option if you want to. So let's do this. Let's just pretend we're doing this, and let's just try and end it right here and see what that gives us. Okay? Look at there. It gave us exactly what we wanted, Davis.
Well,
okay?
but it didn't give you the Bob. It didn't.
That's right. That's right. We're not done with it.
Oh, okay.
We're not done with it. We just did the right side though, but it gave us what we wanted, right?
Yep.
Okay. So a lot of times to make sure that these are going to do right, what I'll do is two separate formulas and then combine them. So I'm going to do the left. I'm going to do the left-hand side. Okay. All right. So let's do left equals left. Do you remember what we do? The string. We got to get that right.
Mm-hmm.
How many characters? Anybody know?
Find.
Okay. Well, let's do it. Let's do exactly. I want you guys to do this. So we're going to do comma, find.
Mm-hmm.
Then what we're going to do? We're going to search for
space.
We're going to search for a space. Same thing. Good. Then what?
You're probably going to want +1 to have a space, right?
Well, let's see. Right here, text to search, right? Text to search.
Mm-hmm.
We got to go back here to D2.
2, yeah.
Now, starting at what point? So I want to go on the left of this, of right here in proper Bob Davis. I want to go in D2 and find the space on D2. At what point do I want to start? Where do I want to start from the left?
Beginning of the space.
Okay, so, well, it's so always 1, right? Yeah, 1 is the beginning, right? 1 is the first spot you're going to.
Okay.
I mean, right? I mean,
that's right. We're dealing with number of characters. I started to say wonder if there was wild cards or detecting any character.
Exactly. So number of characters. That's a good point, Andrew. You said number of characters. So let's see. Let's just see what this does. See if this comes out right. It did. It gave us Bob. Okay. So Bob Davis. So what I would do here is I would just take this formula. Remember I said I break it down so I make sure that each side is right.
Mm-hmm.
Then what I do is I just come and I copy, Control C, okay, then go over to Davis and remember my and sign,
mm-hmm.
Control V. Yep, there you go. So now Bob Davis is run together, right?
Mm-hmm. So you got to go back and insert a comma.
Yeah, there you go, Andrew. Very good. So I'm going to put a comma.
And a space.
And a space. Very good. Now I put the close quotes, and I have to put the other and sign. So I have and, comma, with a space, so it looks proper. Look at that. So I'm going to delete this. This is the results that you were looking for off of that data right there, right?
Thank you, sir.
Now, Bill, here's where your trick works great. This bottom corner. I don't have to drag it down. Let's say this list is 500 lists long. all I have to do is double click this. If I double click this bottom corner, it fills in every one for me. Boom, just like that.
Rather than dragging it?
Yeah, you saw me do it. Because there's data filled in here.
Yeah.
Because there's data filled in here, it will fill all the way till your data stops over here. So if there was a blank space right here, it would stop right here. Then I could drag it and do that, and then I could start here and then double click it. It has to be data on the left-hand side, but it says when you double click right here, there you go, learned a new cool trick. If I double click right here, it tells me, okay, I'm going to add this formula all the way down. As long as there's something on the left-hand side, I'm going to go ahead and do that. I'm going to do it all the way down. So yeah. So you can actually just do this, drag it, and then you're worried about, oh God, I'm not sure if I can hit that right or whatever, and then boom, okay, there it is. Or you could do like I did, where I just double clicked on this little thing right here, and boom, it fills right in.
Right. But dragging it will work if you don't have data. Like if I'm building a spreadsheet that I want data to go forever, it's going to give me a reference error. But
correct.
Until I add it on.
So what I would do is I would hit control down arrows to take me to the last side on this column. It'll take me to the very bottom. Just do that till I get to the bottom of my data. Then move over. Okay. And what I would do first is I would copy this formula, copy. And then I would make sure that that's copied and it's highlighted up there. Then I come over next to that. Let's say this is just like 500 names, like you said. If I do control shift down, it takes me and highlights every single thing there. Okay, that's to select everything, control shift down. But if I want to just go to the bottom, I'm going to go control arrow. And if there's a space and then I have Tim Johnson, whatever. I know it's not text right, but that's okay. Willie Boyd. All right, whatever. So now when I do control down arrow, it's going to take me to see there's a space there. So I'd have to do control down again and control there until I get to the very bottom. The easiest way is to start at the bottom, work your way up, because now, if you remember Bob Davis, I copied that, right? Control C. So now if I do this, if I go like this and drag up, it's a lot easier because I can stop at the top. So if I hold down the shift and drag, or I don't even have to hold the shift, I can just drag up and come all the way up here to Harold Williams because this list is so long. It would copy that formula, except I let go too soon. Sorry. I have to paste that formula in here. It's going to be a value because there's no comma or whatever. I don't have that error checking or whatever, but then I can bring that in there. So it puts values here because these don't have formulas, or this doesn't have anything in it. Remember, I'm going off of D2, not E2. So that's why.
But once you add data into D2 or into D column, that formula will apply it.
Yes, as long as you you can actually copy this formula. Like I can control C.
Yeah.
Okay. And now right here, I can control down arrow. Oh, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to do that. I can go right here and I select everything here. So this actually has all the way down to what, 1,000? Yeah, 1,000 more. So I have all of that selected. So now all I have to do is control V and paste. And what happens is it gives me a formula. So no matter how much data I add in it to the left of that, that formula will always be there, and I'll see that. Okay. Now, if you wanted to put, like, you could actually, instead, again, we can do error trapping. We can do error trapping. We can do fun stuff. So what we can do is, since we're working on D2, if you look in the formula, everything we're doing is counting on a value in D2, right? Correct?
Yep.
Here's where we can go ahead in this formula. Let's add an if. If. Okay. If. Okay. Now, D2 is unequal to empty. If it's unequal to empty, that means it has data. Then do that formula. Well, if it doesn't have anything, then go ahead and leave it blank. Or we'll put, just so you can see the word blank or something, I'm going to put blank. Then that closes my if statement. Now if I copy that down, see, now it'll say the word blank. That means D2 doesn't have anything. I could do that same thing and leave it blank. I could just leave it where there's nothing in there. Like just double quotes means that you're leaving the cell empty. So now when I copy this formula, see, it would just leave it blank. Still has the formula in there. You can see all the formulas right here for D16. It's looking for D16. Formula is still there. It's just blank. I will do sometimes when I do this, I'll put, instead of a blank, I'll put like a slash or something, just so I know that I have a formula in there. Just gives me a clue that, hey, there's a formula in there. Just so I don't type over it or something like that. I might do, whatever, a character or NA. I'll do NA, do something like that. That's a good one too.
Yeah.
But the if, I'm telling you, the if formula is so powerful this way. See, like NA, because it doesn't have any value. Or you could even put nothing in. Here, I'll do it like this. Nothing in the D column. There you go. See? Now I can copy that down. I can also copy that up. I can scroll, do like you did, and boom. So when it does have something in there, we're good. See? So I can make that like that. Mm-hmm. So it tells me there's nothing there. So, those are all really cool things and cool tricks. That if, and this right here, let's learn a little bit about this. So if, this is kind of algebra, if D13 is unequal to, unequal is the two quotes, the greater than or less than, okay? So if I wanted to do if, okay, let's try this. Let's just kind of do it the opposite. Oops, let's do it the opposite. Let's do if D2 is greater than.
Yeah, how do you do that?
Okay, so if D2 is greater than an empty space, if it's greater than an empty space, then do this formula. If not, give me that error. So D2 was greater than an empty space, so then the formula works correctly. Like right here, I'll put that slash. You can see it's a new formula or whatever, but yeah. See, so there's a slash mark, so it works because it's kind of doing the same thing. It's saying D2 is greater than empty cell. Okay, it's greater than an empty cell. If it's less than, I could do it this way. I could do it backwards. If it's less than an empty cell, well, if it's less than an empty cell, then what I want to do is I want to put my slash mark now because I'm doing it backwards. Then I put a comma. But if it is greater than, then I want this formula to be performed. So I just did it backwards. Do the exact same thing, got the exact same results, just did it backwards. Now it gives me a value error because slash mark, okay, so what's happening here? It's less than, let's figure it out. Let's see what it says it is. The find function parameters to value should be non-empty, okay? So now, because I did that, when you're doing less than without dollars and values, less than and greater than wants numbers, like 0. Okay, and I don't want to get too technical and confusing to you. So this would be a perfect example when you want to do the unequal to blank. Okay, why didn't that work? Function find parameter to value should be non-empty. Oh, the second value should be empty. Okay, so it's saying on the find. It was saying on the find, right? Oh my God. This could take forever going and searching. I don't want to go into that right now. I don't want to drive you all crazy, but there's your result, Andrew, that you wanted. You got it. It'll give it to you. You can do it backwards. Now, the other thing you can do is you could actually put, so this is the beginning of you could actually have it where it has, let's see, formula. I could put where, okay, so dear. So if you were writing a letter or something, you know what I'm saying? You could put dear space And you can do that. Oops, why didn't that work? Oh, I know. Never mind. Hold on. I still have that less than greater than. Let's get it back to where we were. Come on. There we go. Okay, now do it. Okay, so if then do this formula, nothing in column D. Okay, so we're going to go to, we're going to do that in left. So we're going to do and. We're going to do dear space and. There we go. So it's dear, you know, Bob Davis or whatever. You could do that kind of thing too.
Okay.
So you can actually add those words ahead of time so that way you have it and it's ready to go. See there?
Mm-hmm.
A lot of cool stuff we learned today. So let's just recap, review. This is what our beginning data was. This is what our end result was. Okay? So this is what the final thing of what we're looking for and what we were trying to go after. Getting the commas taken out, getting the names with the first name and last name, and all the spaces proper and trimmed up so everything's clean on the side. We learned how to do that. This is proper. We learned about upper as well. We learned about the find function. This is really kind of cool, finding something in your cells, okay? You could actually find stuff like a double space, you know, all the names with a double space. You could find, let's say you're doing dates, okay? So 10/12/18, okay? And we wanted to find the first slash because we wanted this to end up as 10/12/18, just those numbers. We could do that too. We could break this down where we get rid of the first slash and the second slash by adding formulas, because we're going to go find that first one, substitute it with a blank, find the second one, substitute it with a blank. Could do that kind of thing. You don't even have to do find. You could actually just do substitute. You want to walk through that? You want to try it? I mean, I don't care. You guys tell me. I'm just trying to make things helpful for you. So
go ahead. Do it.
All right.
Don't ask. Do.
All right. Substitute. Okay, so if I do substitute, formula, it's going to do the text to search. So I have that. Then I put my comma. Then it says search for what? I'm going to search for /. Yep. And replace with, what am I going to replace with?
Space.
Nothing.
Nothing, right. Empty. Good.
Well, okay.
Yeah, because if I put a space in there, it give me a 10 space, 12 space, you know, whatever, 18.
That's what I thought we were going for. Sorry.
You're all right. Don't be sorry.
You want 10, 12, 18 all together, no spaces.
Right. Exactly. Okay. Yes. Okay. So now, like, and then let's see, search for text to search for replace with, and then occurrences. This is instance of search for within text to search to replace with replace with. By default, all occurrences of search for are replaced. However, if the occurrence number is specified, only the indicated instances searched for is replaced. So what this is saying, if I only want that first one gone, let's just put a 1 in there so you can see. It only gets rid of the first one. See there? But if I leave that blank, what it told me, just looking at the instructions right here for occurrence number, if I leave it blank, I got to get rid of the comma. Look at there. It got rid of all of those instances of that slash. Okay? So let's do like what Bill said. Let's replace it with a space in between. So now I have a space, 10, 12, 18 in between. And let's say I really didn't like that. And not only do I want a space, but I want to, you know, I can make this really, really complicated too. Like the last, well, I'm just saying, if I wanted the last two numbers to say 2018 instead of 18, I'm going to have to enter in that 20, but I'm only going to have to do it with the last two things. So now substitute's going to be kind of funky when I do that. So when I get my results, and the other thing is if you have some dates that are like 10/15/2018, have mixed data, then sometimes these formulas won't always work right. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, because I've got a specific use case for that. Because, you know, in genealogy, there's a thing with the European dating and the American dating, month and day being switched.
I was going to ask that.
Okay, so what we do is we use 2, 3, 4. So the first 2 are the day of the month. The second batch is the 3-letter abbreviation for the month, like 03, capital MAR, and then 2018 for the year. We put the whole for a year. So what would be nice is to have a formula where you get dates like this,
Like
and do it. Yeah, if you get those 3, and you'd have to convert each of them to 03 March 2018, just one string with no dividers in it.
But you can go into formatting and select the format you want for dates, right? I know it doesn't work all the time. Like if you've got 0305, it doesn't know which one is the month of the day, but.
Yeah, but a lot of the databases that genealogy programs produce, you can't select a date in our format, the 02 MAR 2018 is one string. They won't generate that date. They'll generate.
But the sheet will it not, Michael? As long as you select what format you want, it will rearrange it, will it not?
Yeah, but I don't think, does it do the date, the month name rather than year?
If you select that.
So if I can go right here.
Okay.
I'm going to make all of these the same. You want them to all be like the last one, right?
Well, without the dashes.
No dashes. Okay, so.
And it should be 2018 is the actual format that we would use.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, you can select that.
All right, so 03/03/18. Okay, so that's fine. See? Okay, so if I have this, I'm going to go format, number, more formats, custom number format. I can make this whatever I want. So if I want this to be, let me just slide this over. Oh, I can't slide it over. Oh, well, I just wanted to see what I was doing. So what's the format you want? You want month first? No, you want
day.
Day. Okay, then what? Slash?
Well, MMM would be for the month.
Right.
It's going to be a 3-letter. Okay.
Right.
And then the Y.
Yeah. There you go. And then hit apply. And there it is. It changed all of them. 15.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
So it's just formatting. That's what Bill was talking about. It's just
formatting. It doesn't matter which, if you enter 2018 03 March, it'll juggle that.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Then the next thing is to get it from that sheet back into the genealogy program, but that's on our side. That's not on your side.
Yeah. Yep. That's it. So if I had 3, okay, let's just say 6/18. Oh no, I'm sorry. 6 in July 07 2018. Okay. So wow. Hold on. Let me.
It doesn't know which is the month of the year because
I know. Let me do it like this. Okay, so now there. Okay, but I want this format. Remember how I said a format painter? Remember this is the format I want. This is what I want it to be. This is a perfect example of when I do this. I click that paint. Boom. Copies the format. Done. Just like that.
Okay.
So easy.
Nice. Nice.
Really cool tools. I mean, it's amazing tools that this thing has built right in that you can use to get those kind of results that you're looking for. So yeah, I mean, if that's what you have to do, you're getting the dates in all kinds of different formats, but they're still in a date format. You can format these to make them however and whatever you want. So yes, absolutely.
Okay.
So Michael,
yes.
Is there anywhere that you can find a list of all those commands? Like substitute, proper, upper, find, like all of those commands that you just demonstrated. Is there anywhere that you can find those?
That's a great question. I've been asked that before. The biggest thing, because you want to know how to manipulate and what to use. How do I know when to use, or how do I know when to use substitute or when to use find? How do I know that I can use the if? How can I use the sum if? There's a sum if, where it checks this range. Sum, if this says today, then I want to sum this stuff. But if it doesn't say today, then I don't want to do that. Or if you have like east, west, and south region, I want to just get the south. You can do sum if this word says south, then I want to sum the data in this column. So how do you know how and when to use those formulas, and where can I look and find those formulas? I would say you could go get a list. I mean, I'm sure Google has a list that you can go get, like every formula that's out there, like a complete list.
Query and explore.
You could probably do that. I mean, you could probably find like what I usually do is I'll do equals sum, and then I find all of the sum product, sum if, and stuff like that. But I know that. I know what to start with. So I get what you're saying with that particular thing. Explore, Bill, on this particular thing gives you, it doesn't necessarily give you formulas unless, I think, unless you already have a formula, maybe. I don't know. Let me see. I can try it, but.
Just ask a question, like if I want to.
Yeah.
Whatever, see what happens.
Yeah, I don't know if, like find formula. Oops.
Yeah, find formula to reverse names or whatever.
I just can't type. That's what it is.
There you go. Whoop. Wrong thing. I posted the wrong thing. Wait. It didn't copy.
Count up formula. See, didn't understand your question. So for A1 through E14. So it's I mean, you'd have to know still the formulas and stuff, but what'd you do? You gave us a list of all of them?
Well, actually, I had something already in copy, but if you go to support.google.com/docs/table, my mouse is so slow it's not letting me.
Okay, right here you can see the spreadsheet right here. Google Sheets function list. There's every function that it has.
Yeah.
There we go.
Arrays, it has database, all the database ones, dsum and all that kind of stuff. There's tons of them. Date, here's all the ones that where you can manipulate dates by the hour, minutes, months.
You do me a favor while you're in there and just copy that and put it in the comment?
Yeah. Copy the whole thing or just copy the link?
Copy the link.
Yeah. Yeah, that's what you want to do. Of all formulas. There you go. I'm going to also put it in the community so we have it. I'll just put it right here. Let me go to spreadsheet formulas. I'll go to this post right here. So you can always come back and search it, okay? List of all possible formulas in Google Sheets.
Control D, done.
There you go. There, so now you got that. But yeah, there's a lot. Look at all the stuff you can do with date. It's crazy. All the date functions that there are, workday, week number, year. You can manipulate stuff. Then there's engineering ones. I think there's like even insurance and stuff. Filter is one big time. Filter and sort, unique. Very cool. Very, very cool one. Unique. What's the other one? Query is a huge one. There's a financial one, so you can find like what you can figure out interest rate. It automatically figures the interest rate based on accrued time and stuff like that by you. And it's crazy. Some of the formulas are just amazing. Some of the stuff that they already have built in to a formula. There's Google stuff that like you can import. If you're on a website and it has a database there, you can import that feed. Or if you have a spreadsheet out there, you can import stuff. Really crazy stuff. Just awesome. Cell is, and here's all the logical ones where it's true. Remember how I had where it says true or not or false, and is and if, is or, and, choose, VLOOKUP. The lookups are amazing. Those are incredible. Like I said, we could go into great detail on a lot of this stuff. I just touched on basic stuff. But one thing is really cool too. One thing I like that I use when I want to get unique names. So for example, let's just say David Ortiz is already on there, and what did I have? Bob Davis or something? Let's try Bob Davis. I think that's what it was, wasn't it? Yeah, Bob Davis. What I can do is equal unique. All right, so then just give it a range. So it'll only give me unique names here. So if I have duplicates, it only gives me Bob Davis once. It doesn't give it to me the second time. David Ortiz, it only gives it to me once. It won't give me it a second time, which that's really cool too. That's a very, and what's cool is if you look at this formula, unique A2 through A16, it's looking over here in A2 and A16. But if you look, see where the formula is in D8? Watch below it. There's no formulas here, but yet the data is. This is so cool. This is what's so cool about Google Sheets. Google Sheets says, okay, I have all this stuff over here. I'm going to put this in the space below without you having to add a formula for every single cell below that. Because in Excel, what you'd have to do is you'd have to copy this formula all the way down here. I mean, it wouldn't work. And they don't have a unique formula. Let's put it that way. They don't have one. All right. And I can do, here's another one that's kind of cool. And listen, I'm getting really advanced here. Okay. So I don't want to go too mind-boggling, but query is another one. Is a really cool one. So I'm going to query A2 through A16. Okay, now that gives me every answer. Like there's Bob Davis and Bob Davis. He's there twice because that just queried and gave me the data. But I can go to the range and I can say, select A, where, gosh, I'm trying to remember how to do this because it's been a while since I've done these, but you can do like where is not Bob Davis. I think that'll work. Oops, no, it'll tell me though. Formula parse error. Yeah, that's right. I got to get, maybe if I did this. Nope, that's still not right. Okay, so Bob Davis. I'm trying to remember. Oh, well, I don't want to sit there. Like I said, I'd have to sit there and go through and figure. I mean, that's what I do, though. I sit there and go through all this stuff and just have a great time with it, trying to figure it out. But it's really cool. You can, like, query out, get a whole list without certain names or a certain word, or, you know, like if you have something where it says paid and not paid and available or in, you know, waiting to be paid, or, you know, in it's just stable. You can just search your whole thing, but not the ones that have the word stable and stuff like that. It's really kind of cool, really neat stuff that you can do. So what else? Anybody else need anything else or want to know anything else?
I would like to know how to transport data from one sheet to another.
When you say transport it, what do you mean exactly? Because that's going to be key.
Let's say I'm doing a monthly budget. So
Okay.
At the end of January, I have a total for all of my expenses on my big wide spreadsheet. So let's say I want to take that month-end total every month and apply it to a different spreadsheet that only gives me my month-end totals.
Yeah, I got you. So let's do that. Let's just use an extra tab here. I'm going to create another tab. All right. So what you're saying is let's just say 1/31 and 1/15, 1/18, 1/25. All right. Those are all days of the month. We have $15, $18, $18.50, 33, 133, and then 87. Okay, these are, and we can change this whole column. I'll highlight the whole column, change it to dollar signs.
Yep.
Okay, I'm going to highlight this whole column and I'm going to format it as a date, but I want it to be a date like this. Boom. Okay, so now I got that. Okay, that's January. Okay. What I do whenever I have data like this, I always put the total at the top. If you put it at the bottom and you want to add one, now you have to insert a line and do all this kind of stuff. But if
of course.
by putting it at the top, I don't have to do all that. So I immediately look, it already gave me a suggestion. It knows that it has dollars below it. I can average this what my average payment is, or I can hit sum. It already gave that to me.
Yeah.
So now I'm going to sum, and look, it actually figured out exactly what I need to sum. I didn't even have to put anything in there.
Right.
So I just put that in there. I put that as the total, and I put B as the total. Okay. So let me do another one. Let me go do, I'm going to add another sheet. Actually, you know what I'm going to do just to make this easier? I'm going to duplicate a sheet. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take a sheet. I'm going to put January. Okay. And I want to just go here and duplicate this sheet. And I'm going to name this one February. All right. And I'm going to have 2/15, 2/18. I'm sorry. Yeah, 2/18 is good. 2/12. Oops, I didn't do a slash. 2/2. Now this, what's happening is here though, you don't have separate sheets though, right? You have them all in one. Is that correct?
Yeah, I would. Yeah, typically I would just do my monthlies all on one, but then I want to just incorporate the monthly total.
Yep.
Into a completely separate sheet, not a tab on the same sheet.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. I just thought about that after I did that. But let's do this. Okay. Let's just say you have a running total. All right. Let's go back to this sheet. Instead of saying January, here's my budget. Okay. And over here is going to be the summary when we get it.
Yeah.
Okay. So this is going to be pretty cool. You're going to like this, I think. All right. So what we're going to do is we're going to format Painter. Remember, format Painter, so I can make that the same as those. So cool. I love that. Cool trick we learned. Okay. So you have total of everything. Okay. So this didn't change, this summary. What I want to do, see how this says B2 through B5? Because that's what we did when we originally did that. Everybody see that?
Yeah.
Well, what I want to do, and this, they allow you to do this in Google Sheets, but not Excel. I can just leave that blank so it's B. See how it added the line all the way down? Too cool. It will always sum everything. Okay? Really cool. Okay. Here's where we're going to do sum if. Okay? January, February. And you could do this on another sheet, Bill.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm going to do it right here just so you can visibly see so we don't have to bounce back and forth.
Okay.
Equals sum if range. Well, I want to B2 or B. Okay. Criterion. Okay. Here's where you have to, here's where I would put for January, this is where it would be the month equals 1. Okay. So we have to do month, date equals 1. Okay, so that's my criterion. Oh, and I'm done. I don't need to sum the range. Oops, didn't work. Okay, let's figure this out. See, this is where I'd have to do some searching and stuff. Okay, so let's see. Actually, you know what we can do? Let's do this. It's going to be cool. Sum if B. Oh, yeah, I have to get the range to don't I have to give the range to, let's do B. I have to make it the same, I think. Nope, didn't work. Okay, let's try this again. See, let's work through this. This is what I have to do. This is the kind of stuff I have to do. All right. Oh, we're B2. No, that's not right. Not B2. That's right. We have to get the date in there. Date. Year, month, day. No, that's not right. All right. What I would do is I go right here and I would search it. I would go, okay, this is a perfect example, Lowell Land, that you're talking about. How do I know which formula to use to get this result? So immediately what I would do, I would go out here and I would like sum data for specific month. I always start it with like a Google sheet formula. Just helps it find it better.
Right.
So sum per month in a specific year. Okay, so you could do that, or how to sum values by month. There you go. Perfect example. Then I go to something like this, and there it is. Give it some if S, C and B, and then it's S greater than or equal to, and then see this has where it puts the date in somewhere, or month B1. Alternatively, since all your dates appear to be this year, you might extract the month number with something like that. So you could copy, do something like that. So that's what it's kind of telling me. Equals date year A2, month A2, 1, etc. You can do that kind of thing. That's pretty confusing, isn't it? I mean, that's a lot of stuff that you got to throw in there to make that work. Let's go back. Let's go find another one. I'm just going to go and give you some examples. Sum by month in Google Sheets using the sum if. This one looks like what I was saying.
Enter like if month is equal to B1.
Yeah, but I think you need the whole date is all I'm saying. Text A1 month. Let's see. I'm not sure. I'm gonna try that. Array formula text. No, not text, because we don't want that. We want the date where the formula's in there. See, this is good. This is good learning right here. How to use month function in Google Sheets query. No, how to sum values based on month and year. Okay, let's just try this. Even though this is Excel, it'll probably be the same thing because a lot of the formulas are the same. All right, so what we want to do is, look at that. Sum product, month, year. Holy cow. Look at that. Times that. Woo. Oh, sum product. Yeah, that makes sense. Sum product is a great one too, because what it'll do is, a lot of times it'll find the part of that you're looking for and break it down. Like, look at that, month times the year times, okay, times that. Okay, so let's just try a sum formula, sum product, and see what happens. We won't need all that data, but let's try a sum product. Okay, let's try this. We're going to do, yes, we're going to do month A2 through A, and it's an array formula, so we might have to change that. The year I'm not worried about, because, I mean, you can change that to add year, but right now we're just trying to find the month, right?
Yep.
Yeah, so what we're doing is we're taking every month where A2 through A equals 1, it's going to go find that data and multiply that out. Why didn't that work? Array arguments to multiply are different size. Oh yeah, that's right. Okay, so A2, B2, we got to make that B. There we go. Should be it. Okay, so now if we added just these,
yeah,
equals sum, just the one for January. There you go. So that's correct.
Yes.
Now, let's do the same thing for February. Now that we have that, we can do the same thing. Okay, just going to copy, paste, and then we're going to change that to month 2. Okay, so now that's 150. So if we took these, if you see me highlight, see how I'm highlighting just these cells?
Yeah.
Okay, if you look down here in the bottom, see where it says sum?
Yep.
It's 150, 70. Exact same thing as we have right here. That's a really cool thing too, being able to do that. I want to format this the same way as this. So now I have that. The other thing that's cool is you could have like above here, if I insert a cell above, I can say 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, because this will match the months, right? So if I have, and I have the, oops, I didn't mean to do that. I'm going to highlight these two, drag this across. So June is 6 month. I'm going to do this.
Oh.
Isn't that cool?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, there you go. So now it'll do the same thing. And then if I just copy this formula, here's the deal with this formula though. Okay, so here's how to lock a formula. If I were to copy this right now, do you see that it says A3 through A and then B3 through B? Everybody see that up here in the formula?
Yeah.
A3 and B3. So if I was to copy this formula, over to here, what do you think is going to happen?
Going to get an error. No March data.
No.
You don't have any March data in there.
Right. There's no, okay, well, let me put March data in there. 3/1, and then I'm going to make it $150. Okay, so now there's March data. What do you think is going to happen if I just copy this over to here?
Oh, it's going to total them probably.
It's not going to total them, but if you look careful. Okay, so for example, let's do this. Okay, now, see where this 1 is right here?
Yeah.
I'm going to change that from a 1 to D1. Why did I do that? Because that 1 value is in D1. So now if I copy this over to February, why did that change? Why did it mess up? Look where it's looking, B3 and C3. All I did was copy the same formula, right? But it didn't. Why? You know there's data in February. There's no error message. No, look at the range. Look where it's looking. It's looking in B3 and C3 because I drug that formula over. This is a reason why you don't do that, pulling this over with this data. So let me show you. What I'm going to do is I'm going to lock, by putting a $sign, I'm going to lock, oops, I'm sorry, I didn't hit a $sign. $sign A3, $sign A, $sign B3, $sign B. Okay? So you're saying, okay, so what does that do? What that does is it will always stay on A3 through A no matter what I do now. D1 will change, but this will not. So what I do is I go just like this. Boom. Now it works. Now March works. See how it has the $150? Because these are locked. By putting those $signs, it locked A3 and A so they don't move. Now, let's say I take off those $signs. I'm going to show you again why this works and why it doesn't. So what this is doing, this is saying, okay, right now this formula says, look up the month in A3 through A, but look on F1 and then multiply that times multiply. I know it says multiply, that's the X, but what it's saying is only get those values where those things match that criteria, where that month is F3 or F1, which is 3, March. And then you multiply it times, I mean, not multiply, you get B3, just multiply, add these columns when that happens. Add these columns when this happens. Now, for example, if I have April now, if I have 4/15 and I add in $234, if I drag this without this being locked to column A and column B, how much you want to bet that this moves to B and C? A is going to become B. B is going to become C because I'm dragging it to the right one place. Mm-hmm. When I drag it to the right, it became B, it became C. And if I were to do it again, let's say I did that again, then it would be C and D. See, it keeps moving with that. Those are called relative references versus absolute references. Okay? So what we want in this particular case, I want it to be column A every single time. So I got to lock it in. Now, one thing is cool. Let's say I'm up here in this formula. I can hit F4 on my keyboard. Watch what happens to A3 and A when I do this.
Oh, cool.
So I can hit, and look, it'll do different things. Like I can do just the A and the 3, or I can do a $sign and the A. I can lock certain parts of it. I can lock the A and the 3. So there's a lot you can do with that F4. You're just toggling between to lock that in. That gives you an absolute reference when you do that. So now when I drag this, all those totals should come up just perfect. And then whenever I add something else for 28, let's make it $16. Boom, that total is accumulating right there. Now what I can do is I can do that on another sheet. You said you wanted a summary sheet, right?
Yeah, but yeah, that's what I want.
Okay. So if you have a summary sheet over here, doesn't matter where it is, what you're saying, right?
Well, no, what I'm talking about is I have a spreadsheet, a chart of accounts. So I'm going to go from January 1st to January 31st in column A. But I might go as far out as column L with individual expenses in a chart of accounts. Okay. All of that's going to total to the next line after January 31st. So come December 31st, I want to be able to take all those total lines and merge them into a separate document.
Sure, absolutely. So your data is going long ways instead of up and down, right? Basically, isn't that what it's doing?
Yeah, it's going from left to right.
Yeah, left to right. So same theory, same thing, right?
Right.
Still getting the same results. Still have the same formulas here. Nothing changes. except for the way the data is just listed. Instead of searching A3 through A, you could do like if for example, this is going to be a cool trick too. So you're going to learn something right here, and then I'm going to go edit, paste special. If it works, let's just see if it does. Transpose. Yep. So now your data is going this way, right? Just like that.
Yeah.
Sort of.
No, he's got the dates down the left-hand side. He's got X number of columns across with different headers. Office supplies, gasoline, blah, 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 blah. Then it comes down and totals that at the bottom. And then he wants that total, that monthly total of each of those columns transferred to a new spreadsheet. Right, Bill?
Yeah, all of the individual monthly totals. But maybe I can do that a different way using formulas.
No. I mean, I can help you. I mean, I can get what you're saying. So what you're saying is basically you're saying like, so the date's not necessarily over here because are you saying like this might be food and this might be
$15 might be $3 of office supplies. It might be $10 of food, or you know how it charged the account.
Yep. So that might be $15, and that might be like that, or maybe even on a different date, right? I mean, like this is the date, and this is when this is done. Yeah. And then like this one might be right here, where this is whatever that is. Let's say I don't know. I don't know. Extra.
Or column A probably would just have would be 12, one row for each month.
Oh, is that what you're saying? Well, he has a date over here.
I would go from January. I want to keep my 12 months on one sheet, but then extrapolate the month end data onto another sheet, because then I can do averages of per month, or I can do averages per year per month, kind of thing. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Or I can go back and see how much did I spend in electricity for March of this year as opposed to March of last year.
Sure. So this is kind of what your data looks like, I'm guessing, based on what you're saying.
Yeah.
I mean, the best thing to do is if you pulled up a spreadsheet and showed me. I mean, unless you don't want that data to be out there, but I'm just saying, or just figure out an example. I don't want this to go forever because we're already in an hour and a half.
Well, that's where we're at now. So I won't take.
Yeah. No, but if you give me the spreadsheet, there's definitely data where I could sum each of these columns, like how much you spent each month in office supplies, and then on food, and then gas or whatever. You could definitely sum those things per month. You could have January where it's just January food, where it matches anything with that month, like you're talking about, plus under this column.
I can go and find one, but it's probably going to take 3 or 4 minutes to open.
Yeah, don't worry about it. I mean, seriously, we can do that at another time where I just don't want this recording to go on forever. I think we learned a heck of a lot today. I mean, we learned a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
And hopefully more than anything too, is that you learned a little bit of the tricks like the format painter, some of those little things, some of the little things that'll help you in a spreadsheet where you don't necessarily need to go get, oh my gosh, I don't know how to do this. Or even like the trim, where it trims off your little spaces in the front, or just making stuff look proper, or all uppercase, whichever works better for you and getting your results, that kind of thing. I could sit here on spreadsheets and work it out. And you saw, I don't always remember the formulas either. Loanne, you're the one that brought that up. I don't always remember all the formulas and stuff that I do. I have to go look those up, especially if I don't use them for a while.
Well, actually, that's the problem we're all going to have, is you're never going to remember that stuff unless you become an accountant and you work with it every day, right?
Exactly.
Well, even that though. I mean, when you're talking about data like the length, and the mid and the right and the left, that's not used every day, especially even as an accountant. Most of their stuff are the formulas where you're trying to dig in and finding numbers and getting stuff like that. There's so much more on a spreadsheet that you can do with data that's just that you want to bring in, some like that SUMPRODUCT. We went really advanced with SUMPRODUCT, which is exactly how you're going to get your results on that other sheet, Bill, because you're going to sum the product of anything that's in this column, but it's also in January. I want to know how much office supplies it is. So you're going to check 2 or 3 things to get that total data of what you want. And that's a really amazing tool and function that you can use and have by that. So that's where we're going to get our results that we want. The big thing is that I hope you learned a little bit on spreadsheets and just to ease your mind a little bit too. You know, I know they can be overwhelming. And a lot of times if you'll just put in, like in our community, that's what it's for. Say, hey, look, Michael, I'm trying to do this. Or I know there's a formula for it and I know you showed me. Can you just kind of real quick, just kind of walk me through that kind of thing? That's what I think is going to help. You know, that's what will help you say, a lot of this you can do yourself. All you have to do is have that formula. When I go, you know, we started this whole thing off. How do you know what formula to use?
Yeah.
Until that becomes second nature, you know, like to me, okay, I know what I want to do. I know how I want to manipulate the data. I know a couple formulas that I would use. But as you saw, I was trying to use the sum if, and it immediately gave me a result of the sum product. I was like, that's it. It had to trigger something up here and say, that's what it was. That's right. Sum product instead of sum if, because I had multiple data that was trying to apply it and things like that. But you're not going to know that or learn that until you start using it. If you want to start using it. I mean, all I was trying to do today was try to give you stuff that is very useful. A lot of people have a database of names and addresses and maybe how much they've paid or something like that. These are all things that we can get and say, hey, look, they paid monthly for this month or they did this. And I was just trying to get basic stuff for the most part, but with a couple formulas so that way you can see, wow, I can manipulate this data or I can change this and make this probably where it's useful, you know, something like that. So.
And then once you got it all figured out, you create a template so you don't have to figure it out again.
Hey, that's a great idea. Excellent.
Yeah.
Yeah. I like the idea of templates. No, that's good stuff because I mean, I do that. There's a lot of times when I have to go reference a sheet that I did that has tons of formulas. I don't remember that if I don't do that all the time. I'm like, oh God, but I did something similar to this on this one spreadsheet. Let me go search that one. And I'm like, oh yeah, this will work because I'm trying to get not exactly the same results, but what I'll get is I'll get like the basis, or I'll learn like you said, what's unique? What does that mean to me? Or what is query? What does that mean to me? You know, I know what a query is, but I don't know how to write that formula.
You'll get the elements. You may just have to change the find data.
Right, exactly. Yeah, exactly. Or, you know, what you're selecting and things like that. Very, very powerful, the query. I mean, it is extremely powerful what that function can do. It's incredible what it can do. I have I don't know if you guys have ever seen it. I'm going to stop the broadcast just for anybody that's rewatching this. I'll stay in as long as you guys want to because I love talking about this, but I'm going to stop recording. You guys good with that?
Yep.
Yes.
Make sure.
Right on.
Okay. All right.
Thank you, Michael.
No, thank you. Thank everybody that's watching this in the future too. And if you have any questions, be sure to get with me and I can walk you through.